Welcome to Danu on Fire right here on Hi TV, your luxury channel. We're checking out Bayleaf once again. Thank you to Harpo for accepting our request and letting us host our guest today. Today I have internationally acclaimed Alston Koch. Hello.
Koch.
Is it Koch or Koch?
I knew that would be the next question, yeah.
That was my next question.
Yeah, it's actually pronounced Koch but spelled Koch.
Oh, really? It's not the other way around.
No.
It's pronounced Koch but spelled Koch.
No, it's pronounced Koch but spelled Koch.
Right. So it's,
K-O-C-H.
but it's spelled Koch. It's
Yes.
pronounced Koch. So you're Alston Koch.
Yes.
I've got that clear. Everyone always says, is it Alston Koch or Koch? So now I've got it. It's Alston Koch.
Well, that's what they say everywhere else. Koch, you know.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. I've actually never had you on a show in a couple of years now. To start things off, you have done quite a lot of work, even in the last few days. Even with COVID, you were out in Dubai singing at the expo.
That's right, yes.
And how was the experience?
Oh, what can I say? It was wonderful, fantastic. I had some great talent around me, and it actually wasn't my show. It was Johanni's sort of show, and I was invited to be on it. It was great. We had about 12,000 people, I think.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
it's not only Sri Lankans, there were people from all walks of
From
life.
all walks of life.
Yeah, coming in, so that's brilliant. Wanted to ask you, okay, so just to let you know, for those who are watching and you might not know this, our mayor, Rosie Serenaiker, was in a music video long years ago, and it was her first music video, and it was Alston's song, correct?
Correct.
So you go back, way back in time in terms of music, and what's that song that went international?
Disco Lady.
And
Disco
when
Lady.
you did that, when you went into the studio, recorded that song, do you ever think that Disco Lady is going to give you a disco to run behind?
No. No one can predict a hit.
That is
It's
true.
strange. If we can all predict a hit or predict the future, we'll all be driving Rolls Royces. So it was as much of a surprise to me as it was to a few other people as well.
Because nowadays, trying to expect a hit is much easier.
Yeah.
Your platforms are quite open, it's at your fingertip. But back in the days, you know, technology was so way back in time. How was it? How did this song get picked up?
Well, today social media helps a lot. In those days, you had to be on vinyl to be actually recognized. For radio to play you, you had to be on a recording label like RCA or EMI or CBS or Sony. I was blessed to be with RCA, and RCA, unfortunately, folks, does not exist anymore, which is a shame, because RCA was a label of Elvis Presley and some of the world's greatest artists. RCA, if you don't really know, stands for the Recording Company of America.
Right,
But it was bought by Sony,
right.
so no longer is it the Recording Company of America. I don't know what it is. They just forgot it existed. So it's sad. Back in the day, to answer your question, Danu, it was so difficult because you had to get airplay on radio, and radio was so tight at that time.
Correct.
They have to have a song drop out of the charts to introduce your song, and this very rarely happened.
True. And back in the days, radio held the key to everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
everything.
TV was nowhere.
Nowhere,
Like,
no.
no. It's actually true. Video killed the radio star.
You're right.
Yeah. So, wanted to ask you, so from Disco Lady, you moved on to a lot of international openings.
Yep.
And you settled in Aussie.
Settled in Aussie, that was where I went when I left here, and of course signed up to the label, and we had a few more hits and a couple of hit albums as well, so it kept me busy.
Yeah. And it keeps you busy still. That's what's remarkable.
Yeah, I haven't lost that enthusiasm,
To get on stage.
Yes, and I'm writing as well, a lot of writing as well. I've written a song about the various things that affected our dear country over the last
Oh, that's going
couple
to be
of
a long
years.
song.
Yeah.
I'll wait for it. By the time you're done writing, I think the country will be go on.
I know, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to take.
How many verses does it have?
Yeah, this one in particular. The one I haven't written. You mean?
It's going to have a few. All right, so I need to ask you, Alston, Alicia Keys
Yep.
introduced you onto the stage once.
Yeah.
To start with, how does she look in person?
She is a very reserved person. She, is every bit an artist. She's been through the hardest of times. She was born in the middle of an area where you would not be recognized if you were anything. That says something, right? So she's come up the hard way, great songwriter, great performer.
And she introduced you onto what stage was it?
It was the great tsunami benefit that we had that came out of New York, but they moved it to Asia because Asia was hardest hit, and had it in this great colossal, 12,000 people, with everybody. You name it, from Madonna, the Rolling Stones, to the world's greatest. So much so that they didn't have any time for little old me. But what they did, which was even better, was that they introduced me to the world. And that was a great sort of
So you didn't perform but got introduced?
Yeah. I was introduced to introduce the other artists.
Okay.
And, as a presenter.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes a little bit, the level is a little bit higher than being a performer. But I was so happy to have anything. I was very grateful. I was humbled by it all.
And also it was contributing towards a country as well that was hit by tsunami.
Exactly.
That is true.
And I took the opportunity to tell them about Sri Lanka.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
All right, so Alston did not stop with singing. He has even tried his hand in acting. Recently, there was a movie that came out based on a true story in Sri Lanka. If you have not watched it, we're going to speak more about when we do come back. We're going to try out our starters. We'll see you after the break. Just stick around. It's Danu on Fire. Welcome back. It's Danu on Fire. We're checking out one of the private rooms that you can come and dine in at Believe. We're talking to Alston Koch. Now that I've got the name cleared, just wanted to speak about that. We're actually shooting this show on a tough day. No vehicles, no cabs, no fuel. So it was kind of hard for us to get to our destinations. And I have got to the destination. I have a problem in getting back to where I'm actually from. That's a different demon to deal with. Now, if you didn't know, he acted in a movie called According to Matthew. This is based on a true life event. He acted alongside Jacqueline Fernandez and many other very talented cast members. It was also directed by a dear friend of mine, Chandran Ratnam. Now, this particular movie starred you for the first time as in the lead.
Yes.
How was the experience?
Horrendous and exciting. And
I heard about your intimate scene with Jacqueline.
Yes, it was cut a million times.
So I want to ask you, was it that the director was seeing a mistake, or was it you purposely doing the mistake?
Well, I think both. Good answer.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Chandran personally told me there were a few cards for that Danu. And how was the experience acting alongside Jacqueline? Because when they signed her up for this, she was not as big as she is right now.
No.
And how was it? Because there was such a pause in the middle of all the filming.
There were a lot of issues. A lot of people didn't want it being done. A lot of people didn't want it being shown. We had every church in our little country of Little Island saying no to give us a church to film in, because the whole story is about a church and what happened in the church. So we had to build our own church. So all these things took time. Then the funding took more time because when you have more expenses and more things to do, you just stretches itself.
It flags off. Yeah, true. And also, this is not a fictional story. It's something that happened for real.
Right.
And it's not even something that happened many decades ago that we're fabricating. It's actually like in our own times. Our parents have seen it.
I know it so well. It was 1978 when the cases were going on.
Have you met him in person?
No.
But Chandran has.
Chandran has. He had a few encounters with him. I knew the lady very well, if I might say so. She was living in the same area where my family used to live, my father's brothers and crowd. And then, of course, Russell was in school with me, the husband, at Wesley. So
That poor man.
yeah, I know. And you know, I actually felt for his family because this was becoming public. And I had a few strange calls from different people about it, but at the end of the day, it's public domain.
That is true.
You know, so we went ahead with the film. We were happy the way it went. And to answer your question fully, Jackie was an absolute darling to work with. She had a wonderful innocence, which she still carries, and it shows in the film.
How was the critical reviews that came along afterwards? I know it went through a few screenings internationally as well.
Yes, the reviews were amazing. And Danu, it hasn't still been released overseas.
Yeah, true. It had a few screenings and that's about it.
Yeah, and it was one of the nominations for the Academies. But having said that, any film can get nominated for the Academies.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yes.
So they just add it to their portfolio. They nominated for the Academy Award.
Yes.
They're like, yeah, anyone can.
A nomination for qualifying for the Academy. That's
They dropped that word, no?
Yeah, exactly.
It's nice to drop a few.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm being realistic. You know, it wasn't the greatest film in the world, but it deserved the mention it got. It was hard work.
Yeah. Especially it is because in Sri Lanka they tend to put aside the creative, the arts that come along with it, so it's painful. So you have a son who has entered the big world of Hollywood.
Yes.
And his name is also Koch.
Yes.
I forget the first name now.
With the Frederick James in front of it, yes.
James Frederick. He, you sort of brought him here and sort of showed him Sri Lanka and sort of gave him a bit of an exposure to where you're from. How is his career going? And was it easy for him to go through the connections because you have sort of paved the path for him?
Yes, but having said that, you know, he's a double graduate from the University of Monash in Australia. I never intended him, or I never wanted him
to enter the arts.
To enter the arts. But as they say, it's in the genes. He did. And he was very lucky. He did one film with Sir Ben Kingsley and Ben Cross, may he rest in peace. And the next big one he did was, which was just finished a few months ago, Night Walk. And was very unique down because he not only did act in it, but he was also the songwriter of the theme and performer. So, you know, that was quite
There's
unique.
so much more to it. Looking at talent in Sri Lanka, I'm sure you would have been seeing things online, and there's always a music video releasing every week here, and videos are getting better. I don't think our films have ever been at that standard. Like music videos now portray a complete storyline. What are your thoughts on it from where you started to today?
Well, from where I started, let's forget it. I couldn't start because we didn't have what we have today. Today you can make a movie with an iPhone, right? Because at the end of the day, you're watching these things now, thanks to COVID, on a TV screen. And you don't have to have the huge $1 million Ariflex cameras to shoot a 70mm film to fill up the big screen. You only have to worry about the small screen now, because everyone's downloading it on Netflix.
Correct.
Theaters are closed. Almost every theater in Australia is closed, and it's still closed. Same in America. So where do we go from here? So what I mean is, I had a hard time getting to where I had to go at the beginning, but now the poor artists are going through the same problems with this situation in the world. And besides a few other problems happening, as we know, you know, country against country, and you know, it's where are we going? Sorry, I took you away from the.
That's okay. But it is. Challenges are more, although the quality, the knowledge is bigger and vast. It's just that the obstacles are just getting bigger and harder. We need to speak about his time with Yohani. As he said, it was Yohani's concert at Expo. She's representing Sri Lanka. She also has done the theme song for So Sri Lanka, being our tagline. And tourism is the only hope we have for this country. And for the tourists who are watching, this is the best time to come to Sri Lanka. Your dollar will change at a brilliant price. So come here. But because he's here, I'm kind of speaking to the foreign market as well, not just quickly putting the word to the Sri Lankans who are there. But let's get into a break because I need to indulge in what we have got. We'll see you right after this. Just a little plug I have to tell for those who love Harpo's food. The pasta that you're going to have is actually Harpo's own pasta.
Wow.
He makes his own pasta. It's even available to be sold.
Everything he's done has been done well. I knew him when he was a DJ, doing his stuff. And at that time, he was far ahead.
He's always just one step.
That's right.
Further. Let's get into a break. We'll see you right after. Do stick around. It's Danu on Fire. Welcome back to our final segment. So I was telling your time with Yohani on stage in Dubai. How was it working with her?
Yohani is, she bubbles with an innocence and a charisma, which I think very, very few people have. Now, I found that in her. I met with her, I spoke, we had a few chats along the way in Dubai. And she very easily brings that innocence to the screen. She reminds me very much about that. Sincerely, I don't know how old she is, but she looks like, what was the name of that girl in America that's now the ambassador, that little girl who grew up, forgotten. Anyway, most people out there know whom I mean. Okay. She was a child star, a huge child star.
You mean Ariana Grande?
No, this was long before her time, in the 50s, before you were born. No, but she was so innocently blessed with a radiance, something like a Judy Garland had, but Judy was adult. This girl was a little darling, and she's now ambassador for. The name escapes me. Anyway, so she's got this quality in her, which I didn't see in anyone else, except perhaps Jackie. Jackie also has that innocence portrayed on the screen, and she's got. I wish her well. I wish her the best. Yohani is going to go places.
Excellent. Now let's speak about you. What brings you to Sri Lanka this time?
Well, I was in Dubai doing the show, and I thought I'll come over here for a few days and. I miss Sri Lanka. I've been away for 3 years since COVID struck, and see all my old friends and enjoy the hospitality that we are all very famous for.
That's nice. And what do you think about the country's stage today?
Good question.
Do you want to have a bite of the ice cream?
Yes, maybe. Now, generally, I don't know. All I can say is that all one hears is about how things are going. And
I'm just told it's baked Alaska.
Yes.
I know that it's baked Alaska.
So so it's I don't know. I don't know what to say, Danu. What can a cock say? I mean, if I might say so. Oh, I got to interrupt this for a moment.
Why?
Yeah, because right behind you, I don't know whether you did this on purpose, is my grand uncle, Peacock. Peacock is right there behind us.
I'm very happy that it's a peacock and not a peeping cock. How did you get through school in Sri Lanka?
I had the most torrid
school
age,
They would have called you everything.
Everything
like,
under the sun. And a cock, when turned around, becomes a and I'm always a gentleman. Okay. I always stand up in the presence of ladies.
Such a standing cock.
And I always carry my surname, which nobody else in the world can do, in front of me. Wherever I go. So anyway, this show of yours will be taken over there. and bang. It won't be Danu on fire. It'll be Danu on ice.
Yes. Oh God. That was a very cockful story. Continuing on this. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Beyond your standing ovation when you see pretty ladies. Now, you have worked with so many media organizations here. I still remember the first time when I interviewed him, I went and picked him up from a hotel. We had a long cruise to the studio. I remember what I was wearing and where I bought the t-shirt. I have an unfortunate amount of photographic memory, that's what I was trying to say. I was wearing a red t-shirt, which had font all over me.
Yes.
And those days I've been through this phase of wearing like this hairband. I was wearing
That's
one of
right.
those. Yes.
That's right.
And I looked like a ridiculous cow.
And you were half your size.
My God, not half. The most of it is now. You saw a part of me at that time.
And then I came and watched you in this wonderful show. And I remember, if I might say so, why the hell couldn't I say so?
Just say it.
I had a little argument with Mr. Kili Maharaja about you because I thought you could be better expended. At that time, you were just about right to
Go on doing
go on
bigger things.
and break the barriers. You know?
Well, I'm so happy that I have opportunities here. I think I work at a beautiful place called Hi, so I'm happy to have you here.
Wonderful.
And I can't wait to have you with your son when you're back in June or July. Let's do a show. Let's have you spill the beans together.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and the son is single, by the way.
Yes.
Father is searching for a suitable bride. Suitable bride. Yeah. Good. I'm telling you, Hollywood. Get your foot in there. Just it's a great passport to hold. All right. On that note, we need to wrap things up. Thank you so very much, Alston. It was absolutely a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
I wish you all the very best and keep up your wonderful spirit. And thanks for taking the time to be here. I'm so happy I got you, did this interview, and now you can cruise back home.
Great. God bless you.
Amazing.
Danu.
Thank you for joining me on Down on Fire. We'll see you soon.